I love that music. Dun, dun.
I have great taste.
All right. Hey, welcome to the Prepping Academy. My name's Forrest. We have Kyle. I said your name this time.
That was a lot better.
That was better. So, hey guys, welcome to the Prepping Academy. I love that music. I mean, it just, again, every time I have to comment on that, it's just great music. It makes me want to march. Nothing?
No.
Is it another commercial? Oh, he played it backwards.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey guys, welcome to the Prepping Academy. My name's Forrest, and we have
Dude, you
Kyle.
just did it right, and then you're going to do it wrong.
We have Kyle, and I love that music, by the way. But we're on live on Blog Talk Radio. But if you're on Blog Talk, go over to prepperbroadcasting.com, and we have an interactive chat room that you can join in with us. I'm actually got to minimize this screen. There we go. And going over there, enter our chat room. You can discuss, ask questions. So we are live. Kyle, how was your week?
It's pretty good. It's pretty good. Another week of not doing too much.
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Organizing.
Kyle is unemployed on purpose.
Yeah.
Unemployed on purpose.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
awesome. That's got to be fun.
Yeah, just doing my own thing.
And yet I called you
sale together and all that.
Yeah, you got a yard sale coming up tomorrow. I asked you if you had any prepper items for sale. And
like two.
And I wasn't interested in
getting rid of all the non-prepping, non-essential crap.
Okay.
Like, honey, we don't need this baby photo, do we? No.
Yeah.
Put that out here. He's a cute kid. $5.
So being unemployed, I called you and say, hey, let's do lunch. And you're like, okay.
I already ate. It was like 1 o'clock.
Well, and you were walking, which is kind of interesting. Matter of fact, you were irritated that I called so you could listen to your music and walk.
I do. I listen to my music while I walk.
Yeah, that kind of really pissed me off. No, so unemployed. We had a meeting last night.
We did.
Carolina Preppers
There's a lot of
Network in
people
Charlotte. Had a bunch of people. It was intense.
Yeah.
It was very exciting. I mean, there was a lot of energy.
Yeah. People were asking a lot of good questions.
Good
very
questions.
involved.
Several new people, and so it went well. We'll get into that a little bit later. I do want to tell everyone next week.
Yeah.
Your hero, or someone you really
admire.
Hero. Someone you worship. No, your hero. No, someone you really admire.
You're the one with all the selfies with them.
Well, I just one. But who are we gonna have next week?
Wait. You mean you photoshopped those ones where it was like you guys on the beach scene, you guys at the Eiffel Tower?
Yeah. No. Yes. Who are we gonna have next week?
We have Alan Kay, who was the first season winner of the show Alone.
And he was awesome.
Dude, he was.
Wait a second, I got some poetry to read. In the night.
No, yeah. Your poetry, I'm gonna slap you on the
Well, that's what he would do. He'd just stop and just.
Yeah.
I mean, he would just talk.
But guy had a great mindset for it. That's why he won.
Oh yeah, and you know what? I met him at prepper camp, and you didn't.
No, he was still working.
You were still working.
That's why, actually, whenever they asked, that's why I said I left. I was so angry I missed out on getting to spend time with Alan Kay that I had to quit.
Someone asked me today, why wasn't Kyle at prepper camp? I'm like, well, there were some tricky things with his work going on, and he just couldn't make it.
Yeah.
At the time, and so they're like, okay, because they were disappointed you weren't there.
Yeah, there might not be prepper camp next year. It just depends on how things play with Russia. We'll see.
But Alan Kay's going to be on. He's going to call in.
Yep.
We'll talk a little bit about the show, a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But the guy, I mean, I sat in his class, and it was, I mean, the guy's a genius. I mean, he has the right mindset.
Yeah.
So instead of talking about, hey, why did you do this on the show, or why did you do this? We'll talk a little bit about that. We want to get an insight in his mind and his prepper mindset.
Yeah.
Because and he's got some good stories as well. So
I really wish we had more time for all that. It feels very compressed. So I think next week maybe we ought to skip my conspiracy theory. Maybe we should just go straight
to it.
To Alan Kay.
Well, I know you already have a list of like 75 questions that you and your wife, because your wife likes them too.
Yeah. He was fun to watch.
It was fun to watch.
Everyone else is crying, and he's just like reading poetry and walking around bathing himself in a river, and it was funny.
Okay, yeah, he's going to be here in the week after that. Oh my gosh, Franklin Horton is going to be here.
Yes.
Franklin wrote the series Borrowed World. I met him at Prepper Camp as well. He's got The Borrowed World, Ashes of the Unspeakable. And so he's got a whole series. So he's going to be on the week after.
It sounds like a really uplifting book.
Oh, it is. I mean, that's one you would do in Bible study at church.
Oh, okay.
Okay, maybe.
I thought it was maybe like a ladies' book club.
Maybe ladies' book. No, everyone in all these books, everyone dies except like 3 people.
That's awesome. I'll finally get my seclusion.
Okay, it is time right now for
my conspiracy theory.
Your conspiracy theory.
Okay.
Now, and I know you were struggling on which one to share.
There's so many.
And I said chemtrails.
Yeah, I slapped you.
And you said no, not going to do chemtrails.
I don't care about us taking chemtrails.
So what are you going to do tonight?
We're going to talk about Georgia Guidestones.
Okay, you've mentioned that to me in the past.
So,
tell us about it.
So the Georgia Guidestones, the year that they were...
What are you going to do tonight? I'm sorry.
The year that they were actually constructed escapes me, but basically... The Guidestones are almost like America's Stonehenge. The only difference is these come with a list of commandments and decrees, and one of those talks about reducing the population, living in harmony with nature, and a bunch of other like New Age sort of stuff. The person who put it together, they didn't use their actual name, so the name that was on it for the dedication was R.C. Christian, which a lot of people believe it was the Rosicrucians who actually helped put this up. There's some rumors that go back to Ted Turner and a few.
How long has it been there?
A good while. I want to say it was constructed back in the 80s.
So 40, 50 years.
Yeah, but a lot of it plays in. Like
years.
A lot of Americans would say, like whenever you start hearing people talk about things like Agenda 21,
okay,
and global plots for depopulation, it goes back to Georgia Guidestones. It's a monument anyone can go look at. Been there for years, but most Americans don't realize it's there.
Is it big?
It's huge.
Oh, it is?
It's
Oh,
huge.
really?
Yes, it's huge. It's several different languages. But yeah, most Americans, they don't pay attention to that sort of stuff.
But, I mean, couldn't some guy named Jim just put some of his socialistic thoughts on a stone?
Well, they're not exactly cheap. I mean, even for back then. All right, so the dimensions on them, they're 20 feet high.
Okay.
They're made of granite. Each weighs about 240,000 pounds. And they refer to it as the 10 rules of the Age of Reason. And it's basically all associated with the New World Order. Oh, wait, that sounds... Did we talk about that?
Yeah.
We were just talking about that New World Order thing.
Yeah. But how is this a conspiracy theory?
Well, most people don't believe there is going to be a New World Order. Most Americans just think... Oh, everything's great and dandy, and let me go waste my money on stuff. Let me not prep.
And we talked about that last night in last night's prepper at our meetup meeting, which I'm going to re-record because it didn't record last night. We were going to
re-record.
Well, we didn't record it the first time, so you can't say that. So we were going to live stream it and we were going to record it, and neither one of them worked. So
who was responsible for that?
Wait, I'm not going to.
Who would have messed that? I can't believe the technology would have failed.
Let's just say he didn't make it home last night. No, I'm kidding.
Oh.
So I'm going to do it again.
Okay.
I'm going to record it probably in the morning and put it online because I promised people we were going to stream that.
It's probably for the best because honestly last night you were struggling a little bit. That's why I had to stand up and talk.
Whatever. But we talked about the New Order and
absolutely.
How it is. I do some Bible stuff in there. So that'll be released tomorrow sometime afternoon. So that's your conspiracy theory. So does that match up with the New World order and Agenda 21? Is it all
Well, think about what we were talking about last week. What was the conspiracy theory? We're talking about Deagle and their projections for basically in 8 years, 260 million Americans just aren't going to be here.
Right.
And our gross, national profit's going to be dropping. Military spending goes on, through the or not through the roof, goes through the floor more likely.
Right.
So you have to kind of look at those and say, oh, well, hey, maybe there is a depopulation plan in effect. It didn't say anything about diseases or anything like that or what they plan to do.
People think that the United States is overpopulated. Did you know?
Dude.
Did you know, and you can do the math, correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure I've done this math, and you could give everyone 1 acre and everyone can live in the state of Texas.
Yeah, I think that's about right. Now, the real trick is you give
everyone in America could.
Yeah, well, you give the Democrats an acre right in the middle of the Mississippi, and then the Republicans have more acres. No, I'm just kidding.
So you're making that joke up on
the fly. I like some Democrats.
Yeah, don't do that.
Some Democrats.
Who?
Huh?
Really? What's wrong with you?
Whatchamacallit? What was the guy's name? Andrew Jackson. He was a decent Democrat.
Okay, yeah.
For some things. That whole Trail of Tears thing didn't work out too well.
So, last night we talked about the Russia. I think we have to hit that a little bit. There's some freaky things going on right now.
Oh, you mean like telling people to find out where their local bomb shelter is and be prepared to take their stuff and go?
Yeah, I mean, what is going on there? I mean, is this a cat and mouse game?
No.
There's
like Gorbachev came out the other day and said this has never been this bad. It's so tense right now. It's worse than the Cuban Missile Crisis.
How did it all just sneak up on us?
Mainstream media doesn't report half the crap that's going on.
Okay.
You have the Royal Navy over there that they're told now, or the Royal Air Force, sorry, that they're basically being ordered to shoot down Russian jets over Syria if they encounter them.
That would not be good.
No.
Mm-mm.
Way to piss off the bear.
Right. Do you think there was? I mean, because one of our battleships was shot at twice.
Well, that's actually connected to Iran.
So Russia has nothing to do with that.
No, because here's the thing: Iran, Russia, and Syria right now are basically fighting ISIS. They all come out; they admit that. There's other nations that are in there; they're helping fight, like Jordanians. But right now, and you can see this particularly through Hillary Clinton and some of the emails that have come out here recently. Saudi Arabia is helping fund ISIS. We have helped ISIS. And supposedly, even from mainstream media right now, there are plans to help back 9,000 troops over there to surprise attack Russia. And that's even on mainstream media. It makes me wonder, whenever it's on mainstream, though, how much of a secret is this? But now, even coming out of the U.S. today, they're talking about a potential cyber attack preemptively against Russia.
Why would you announce that? That makes no sense whatsoever.
Because the people who are running this are idiots.
Okay.
And I can only say...
You're saying our government, our leader.
Yeah.
I mean,
the Fuhrer.
Yeah. The Fuhrer. One of the interesting things I read in an article that I didn't know this, but of course Russia's been doing this exercise for years.
Yeah.
I mean, and it just happened to be right now in a tense moment in our relationship. But I read where they had a facility underground that could house 12 million people.
Mm-hmm. They've been building these since...
That's a lot of people.
Yeah, but they've been building these since the Cold War started.
But 12 million people, that's like taking New York City and putting it underground. I mean, it might be just bunk beds, which I'm sure it is.
I mean...
That's a lot of people.
New York already kind of smells like it's underground. So you've been there in the summer, so...
But that was, 12 million, and that's for Moscow. That was right out somewhere, I don't know where it is, but, our government has just enough for themselves and their family and friends.
That's debatable. There's been a lot of theories out there for years, and there's supposedly people who have come forward and talked about it, where there's huge, huge tunnels connecting all across the country where they could effectively put millions of Americans in. The thing of it is they're not telling us that. They don't care about the average Joe Schmo. They don't care about you or me or maybe even, some people in local, in state governments. They care about the wealthy elites, the one percenters, and this upper echelon of corruption that all wants to hide. They hide everything else. Why not hide themselves
Right.
whenever they know something's going to happen?
Like Greenbrier.
Yeah.
You mean the hotel? They had, I saw a documentary on how they fooled everyone as they were building the bunker down there. Do they even use that now? Probably not. I think you can tour it now. I'm not sure.
I know that a lot of facilities like that have shut down that you used to be able to tour.
Mm-hmm.
They've now totally closed their doors. I think even maybe like Iron Mountain used to be tourable, and then they finally stopped.
Well, I know that they announced recently that Cheyenne Mountain, which is NORAD, that they are spending billions of dollars to make it EMP proof.
Yeah, you would think it already was, but maybe for the technology at that time it would have been. But just sitting here thinking about it, if we're talking depopulation and we're talking everything that's going on, what a better way to do it than piss off the bee's nest, piss off the bear, and then go hide in a tunnel somewhere or in a facility.
Yeah,
and then just ride it out and then come back later.
But 300 million Americans is very. I mean, that doesn't even. It's not even a blimp on the global scale population.
Oh no, it's really not. But these people, their pockets run deep, and their associations are multinational. It's no longer just America. It's all globalization. So everything's intertwined.
So last night I taught one of the weirdest classes, if you want to call it, or meetups in my life. I taught people on nuclear bombs, nuclear fallout, how to build a nuclear fallout shelter, how to treat burns. I mean, it was really weird.
The part when you put on the masks and the bodysuit and start. Yeah. No, I'm just kidding.
It was just really weird because I have what's it called, potassium iodine tablets.
Yeah.
I have a ton of them. I mean, not a ton. I mean, a couple hundred. But I never really thought about a nuclear bomb. I always thought of maybe my local nuclear plant just having a problem. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So anyway, that was enlightening and interesting to teach, and that's part of the video I'm going to put together tomorrow morning and release it. It has that particular one is going to relate everything going on in the Middle East and the Bible. And then we're going to talk about some nuclear items in there. So that'll be out tomorrow sometime. So tonight's show is about mindset. Everyone has a different mindset when it comes to surviving, prepping, living. I mean, mindset is one of the hardest things to train. I mean, you can get a skill, but to actually have the mindset to make it through things takes a lot of discipline.
Yeah.
So, and it's kind of vague too. Hey, what's your mindset on surviving? Go ahead and 300 words or less. Tell me.
Well, it's like you've been talking to people last night. People talking about wanting to form groups. You have to have some really difficult conversations and awkward conversations about different scenarios and what may happen and how each person would kind of perceive those and react to them. Because at the end of the day, like, you can sit here and you can read books like 1 Second After, Patriots, et cetera,
which I think are great books.
They are,
and you can learn a lot from them.
You can learn things, but you can't really develop your mindset because you're talking about your individual worldview. It might encourage you to become a prepper. You might read different scenarios and think, oh, that's probably how I would react.
Right. Oh, yes.
But it's something that you really need to spend some time on and really refine.
We had a meetup a while back, and we played the conflicted card game we talked about earlier.
Yeah.
And one of the cards was, and it was kind of interesting. It was one of the first meetings. And the card was, hey, an orphan comes up to the gate of your retreat. Mm-hmm. What do you do? And the particular gentleman that had that card says, you shoot him. And the whole room kind of gasped for air, like, and he was dead serious. Mm-hmm. And so I think that freaked some people out. Their minds, I mean, there is good logic behind what he was saying, but yet...
That's where I pretend to have the card that says, one of your group members just shot an orphan. What do you do? I shoot him.
You shoot him. I mean, I mean, he made an argument, and people started going, "Huh?" But when it comes to things like that, having to kill people, having to not eat for days or hide out because there are people around you, I mean, that's hard to train for. The military tries to train people, and they have exercise, and they train and train and train, but until you're in a situation, you're not going to know exactly how you're going to act.
Yeah, because like if you and I go like 4 or 5 days without food, I think we're both going to have very different reactions.
Mm-hmm.
I'm probably going to be, tired, but probably okay. You might start looking at me like I'm a hamburger. And that's where I'm going to take out the AR-15.
Ham bone.
Yeah, I'm going to be like, you're going to need to leave.
What was that cartoon? Is it the chicken? You kept looking. I don't know. But in the military, we did exercises, 72-hour exercises, and we would eat, but we wouldn't sleep for 72 hours to train us to be working and try to, at a high level, perform our task. And that's why I do like military people, because they have been trained some skills on the mindset thing, as opposed to just your average Joe that comes to our meetings. What are you going to do? I'm concerned about my wife as well. Let's say that something happens and this guy was, had a gun on us and was going to kill us, and I shot him. How is that going to affect people seeing someone shot? I mean, that's
why it's important to start watching The Walking Dead now. And if your children are young,
watch that movie because of that.
If your children are young, you just duct tape their eyes open so they can't blink. And then no, but there is something to be said for kind of desensitizing yourself to a certain amount of things and being prepared for that reality. Because once something kicks off, depending on how bad it is, most of these people, I have to say, there's little tics that maybe people have, or how they respond to certain things, or how they judge scenarios and other people. And I look at them and I say, no, not a chance. Like, we're not going to be in a group together. But it takes someone who I can tell they have a good worldview, and their program is kind of like, not to go biblical on everybody, but the Bible says, or God literally says, my law is written on their heart. And whenever you come across someone and you can tell, okay, they have a good concept of this and it's really written on them, this is their hardcore, being, then I'm like, okay, you're going to be in my group. I need you in my group.
See, that's going to be one of the biggest struggles, I think, especially we're both believers, Christians, and that's going to be one of the hardest things for us, is having to make a judgment call to do something drastic or serious.
Yeah.
Because it may conflict with our views. And so what do you do? I mean, if I shoot the guy, our whole family lives tomorrow. If I don't shoot the guy, he could come back and kill us all. I mean,
we had that conversation last night. Two of the ladies I was talking to, and I very bluntly said, for me, and even for friends and family and stuff we've talked about, for whenever something does go down, the role is, if, say for friends and family, you come in, you have been selected, I trust you, I know what you're like, you're good. Keep your weapons on you, but for the first 7 days, if there's any sort of disease or anything like that going on, you're off in your camp, and whenever you're good to go, then you can come into my camp. If it's someone where I don't know them and they come up and they're loaded with AR-15s, I'm going to say, great, hand over the weapons and you can come in and you can have refuge here and you can do some work, stuff like that. We'll give you everything back, but I need to know you first. If you need your weapons, if there's an attack, something like that, we'll have them in an armory, you get them, but don't just expect to walk in with firearms and be like, oh, hey, you're welcome here, let me embrace you.
Right.
That's not the way it's going to work.
Because there's going to be some interesting decisions that are made that the entire camp, women and children, will know what they are. And it's going to be interesting how people react to them.
Yeah.
So there is a difference between highly interested and highly motivated.
Yeah, highly interested. This is like a fad to these people. And it pisses me off because there's so many of them. I can remember back in the day whenever I would do blog talk or blog TV, and we'd have different people come on, and they'd have like 50 guns, and they loved it, and then they have night vision and FLIR, and then they'd go out there and they're like, I have no idea how to use it. And I'm like, well, you're an idiot.
Right.
Like, you're interested, you have the money, you're wasting it.
Mm-hmm.
You just buy this stuff. If you don't have a skill set, you have to really sit there and question like what you're interested in, what skills you already have, what do you want to learn, what do you think is really going to be applicable for the future,
Right.
and you start doing that, then I see that you was highly motivated. You know, it's like if you
Right.
have an employee at work who just comes to work and that's it. They do the bare minimum. They're not going to get a promotion.
There are a lot of people highly interested, and the only way you can find out if they're highly motivated, because working with prepper groups, you can't tell in the beginning because they buy. I mean, they don't mind spending the money. It's where it separates is when there's skills involved. Hey, one of your skills was to learn to get your ham radio license, and it's been 2 months, 3. I mean, if you because skills are harder to get than buying stuff.
Yeah.
And so people will buy. I've learned this. People will buy. They'll spend the money to stay with the flow, but they won't do. Oh, you said you want to learn bees, and you haven't done anything about it. I mean, so the skills, and then you can find that really is one of the first signs of telling me if someone's skilled, highly motivated, or highly interested. Like we have a lady in our prepper group. I mean, the lady dehydrates. She cans. She does all this stuff has chickens. This lady lives it.
Yeah.
And you sit back and go, that's the kind of person I want in my group.
Yeah. But at the same point, it's one of those things where you have to look at your own family and be like, hun, why don't you do that? Yeah, I need you to see what this lady does. I need you to get on board. Wait, I can't do everything.
Yeah.
And that happens.
Right.
That happens a lot.
So would you say, I know this isn't survival group talk, but our wives put up with our hobby, our lifestyle.
Yeah.
I mean, my wife she encourages me, your wife encourages you, but we both wish our wives would take a bit larger role, or at least I do.
Yeah. No, I think that's fair to say.
And so they're just along for the ride at this point.
Yeah, and I think we see that even whenever we go to the prepper meetings. There's wives that are more on board than the husbands. There's kids that are more on board than the parents.
Right. Oh yeah.
And
Yep.
People need to get on the same thing because I've said this in my own relationship where you're going to slow me down.
Right.
Like you're going to be a distraction. You're going to be, a burden if you don't pick it up. So that's another thing in the mindset is. Imagine something happens tomorrow, and now you're not just, you might be running 100%, and your spouse or your kids are running 10, 30%. That's a huge handicap.
Right. And maybe throwing some of these books in front of, could help. Okay, let's talk about some things getting your mindset ready. Okay, so I listed down, hey, read some books, and you're like, no.
No.
But, okay, like when I read Patriots I learned a lot, and I read 1 Second After by Bill Fortune. It was kind of neat to see how people reacted and how in Black Mountain they were kind of discovering what's going on as a whole town and then kind of reacting to come together. And there's something telling there. There's something to be learned there.
Yes, that someone used to watch the Waltons, and that was really great back then.
You're saying that's not real at all?
I would say maybe 15, 20 years ago, there might have been more camaraderie among Americans, but quite frankly, it's like, like lately you've been talking about the American Redoubt, and I think it's excellent to a certain extent what they're doing, but I've also come across some of these folks over my years as a prepper, and quite frankly, some of them scare the crap out of me because they are, I almost want to say, ultra-nationalist.
Okay.
And a lot of people don't understand that, whenever you have nationalism, it's because you've had a strong influence of socialism and communism within your country. I think it's excellent that they're trying to do, the prepping thing and continue on with America and everything like that. That's great. Fantastic. Let's make sure our worldviews are appropriate for what's coming.
Right.
But one of my biggest things is, like I've said before, is, if you can follow people like Fairfall, it's Ferfal. He has a blog and basically chronicles his experience in Argentina dealing with the economic collapse down there.
I've listened to some of his stuff because he survived in the city for like a year, didn't he?
Yeah.
Literally in a hellhole.
Yeah.
and he didn't he write? Did he write? Does the book tell about that or?
He's very open. Most of his blogs are still out there that you can look at. He was on one of my websites, and he would put out information all the time and talking about his personal experiences. It's just one of those things, though, where you look at a difference between Argentina and America. I can tell you we have a heck of a lot more firearms. And our worldviews are so polarized, particularly over the past 8 years, that whenever something really does go down, whatever it may be, I fear my fellow Americans.
Yes. I fear my neighbors.
Yeah.
I mean, absolutely. Because if their kids can't eat,
people will do atrocious things.
Absolutely. That I guess that's why most preppers want to get out.
Yeah.
To a retreat where their neighbors is, a mile away, so they can see them coming.
And I mean, I told you recently, I actually unfriended, not on Facebook. I'm not a part of that CIA seed fund, like some people. But I literally unfriended in real life. I told 2 of my friends we came across this conversation, and they told me they were they were able to accept cannibalism. And I said, no.
Did you go, I unfriend you?
No, I told them, I said, if I ever came across it, I would probably shoot somebody. If I seen someone pursuing people for that sort of thing because of the nature of a food crisis or an economic crisis in the U.S., I mean, it's horrifying to me. But there's a lot of Americans who think like that.
Right. And you were talking about The Road, and I haven't seen that movie.
And I can't recommend it. It's horribly depressing.
I haven't seen that.
Anything to do with prepping.
No, okay, it doesn't. But it just so hey, it's a good time for us to take a commercial break. When we come back, we're going to talk about some more blogs, some movies, and knowledge from people we can get. So we'll be right back in a minute.
Good.
Yeah, it's playing. I let him know through the chat that we were done, ready.
There's actually a lot of people chatting.
Oh, do you want to see?
Are there more people in there? Oh no, T.I. I see at the bottom. All right.
Y'all. You don't do y'all.
Yeah. Oh, we can.
Well, let's first talk about some movies and old people, and then we'll go to some of the questions.
Okay.
Hey guys, we're back with Kyle. We were just while the commercials were going on, we were checking some questions out in the chat room. And so what we're going to ask everyone to do is, hey, if you have a question, put it in all caps so we can, like that guy, so we can see it and take note of it. Before we go there, though, let's talk a couple of things. So reading books, reading blogs, you say there is some benefit there.
Yeah.
Especially blogs, people that have been through it.
Yeah.
What's some other ways you can get a mindset of what goes when the crap hits the fan?
Probably my biggest influence is the people I've met in my life. The stories that they've personally been through. Like I've known Holocaust survivors, Polish refugees, folks within the government, retired FBI, current FBI, people who've served on Air Force One. All sorts of stories that kind of come together that you have to be very open and perceptive to what's going on around you, and don't just take it from, for the love of God, CNN or Fox or MSNBC or something like that. Try to seek those people out. Particularly, if you have the opportunity to talk to someone who's like a World War II vet, by all means, sit and take notes.
Absolutely. Also, I don't even know if they have to be a military person.
No.
Your great-grandfather, your grandfather that had a spring cellar, well, how did you build that?
Yeah.
I mean, how did you keep ice in the summer? How did you grow this particular plant in this region? And the knowledge there, because you, Mr. Camo, you always think everything is shooting people and protection, which is important, but also the knowledge that is dying. Really, some of the knowledge that they have that every one of our great grandfathers and grandmothers had a garden, did canning. They just did.
Well, see, you make the mistake though of saying I'm all about shooting people and all that stuff, but yet I guarantee you I know more about gardening and horticulture and natural medicines and essential oils and like I was telling you about different things medically today and even prevention of radiation poisoning.
Right. Yeah,
I have
agree.
a broad skill set.
Yeah, you don't have jack, but you do have the plants for sure because I grow a what I call a salsa garden every year.
Yeah, your salsa garden.
And my salsa garden is everything I need to make fresh salsa.
Yeah.
That's what I grow.
Yes.
And it's always good. But you're right. I'm weak in that area. But there's so much knowledge we can learn from our grandparents but people. So you say old people.
Typically. As long as they're not, senile.
Right.
That's
a good learn. How about movies?
To a certain extent.
Because that almost gets you in the situation, and like The Walking Dead.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch that because it was. I remember this little girl with a white dress comes up between some cars, and the guy looks at her and just pulls his gun out and shoots her right square in the head. I'm like, that was hard for me to take. And you go, she's a zombie. Well, it was a little girl zombie.
To me, it's like a merciful thing or something like that. Honestly, if there was a zombie apocalypse, I'd be pretty happy.
Oh yeah,
that'd be easy for me.
You think video game?
Pretty much. I've been practicing all my life for this. It's gonna be great.
Okay, some of the questions in the chat room. Let's see if we can actually read some of them here. Is it too late to start prepping? Yes, you're gonna die. Don't prep. Don't waste your money. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I wouldn't say it's
not too late.
It's not too late, but you're not going to get much done unless you have deep pockets.
Well, the thing is, it's not the money. Well, the money is a problem because a lot of people don't have deep pockets. But you can start putting back food. You can get a year's worth of food. I used to have it posted for one person was like $400.
Yeah,
and that's beans and rice and spices.
Basic stuff.
Basic. So if you have a family of 5, that's $2,000, and you can have a year's worth of food like that. No problem at all.
And no guns, so it'll all be taken within the first week.
True. And so then you would need guns and the skills. Skills are more important than anything else.
Yeah.
I think skills, then food and water.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't think it's too late to start because we don't know. We don't know when it's going to go down, and we've been guessing for years.
No, and that's another thing is a lot of people make comments to me, like even at the meeting last night. Well, I have X amount of money. Do I put the money towards land, or do I put the money towards more preps because I don't want to buy land and then it's not worth anything?
Mm-hmm.
But then or should I pay off my credit card, or should I do this? And each situation is going to be different. You kind of have to decide where you're going to be at. But I'm a bigger proponent of people going in together.
I'm a big survival group guy.
Yeah.
I made that clear last night, too.
Yeah. Put your money in a pot. Everyone gets in there, establish an LLC. You can split it, 5, 6, 7, whatever ways you want to do. And
if you're not in a group, you're going to die. If you're just you and your family of 5 or 6 or 7 people, it's not going to work out pretty for you.
No.
Because that means the male, the teenage boy, you're going to have to 24 hours a day man that house or that place in security, and it's not going to go well.
Yeah.
And so, but anyway, that's a good question. I don't think it's too late. I think there's still. I can't predict the future, but I can. I think we're all feeling something's.
I'll put it this way: I won't predict the future, and I was never a big like, oh, it's gonna happen in 2012. Oh, it's gonna happen in 14 or
You
whatever.
weren't one of them.
No.
Okay.
No, because I actually do my research.
Okay.
I would say within the next 4 months, we're gonna see something major happen.
Wow. Then you better get started. Like tonight.
Yeah.
Okay. What percentage of people do you think will crack after, the SH
Bare minimum, I'm gonna say 10%.
will crack?
Yeah.
Gosh, I'm thinking like 70%.
I'm thinking just total nut jobs, period, in the U.S. I'm thinking what percentage of the population is already on like antidepressants, anti-anxiety, stuff like that. That are just gonna go ape. Now, if you're talking preppers, I'm gonna say it's probably gonna be.
I think preppers have a pretty good.
I'm gonna say 50-60%.
Really?
Honestly.
I'll tell you this. I have a neighbor. If something like that happened, I think they would stay in a fetal position until they just finally got killed.
Yeah.
I just think that they would do that. I get many neighbors. I know many people that, first of all, they would say, that Forrest was right. I should have listened to him. Where is he?
Yeah.
Let me go find him. And, of course, I'm not going to be here. But I don't think people can handle it.
Well, think too. We have mutual friends who have wives or children who are not on board, who are pretty much like, if it happens, I'm just going to shoot myself. Like they wouldn't want to live. They wouldn't want to live through it. How's your spouse going to carry on if you just did that? Right.
Also, how's your spouse going to handle things when she can't get in touch with her mom and dad?
Yeah.
I mean, because
or can't check Pinterest.
Or yeah. Right. I mean, it's going to be rough for people, absolutely, and that's where that's where mindset and preparedness to have the mindset. That's why watching some of these movies, I guess, like Walking Dead or shows, and The Road, they can prepare you for the absolutely worst case scenario. I mean, so what's another question we have? What's wrong with
cannibalism?
Oh, yeah. I can't even ask that question.
No, I couldn't. It's even one of those things where I couldn't even eat my dog. I could maybe let my wife.
No, I could eat my dog. I got the devil dog.
He's cute, man. No. He's cute, but like I could eat someone else's dog. But whenever it comes to people, it's the sanctity of a human being, just out of respect in what we are.
What does the Bible say about?
If you eat somebody,
yeah.
I'm pretty sure it's fire and brimstone.
Oh, is it really? I don't know. I don't know that
sure
question.
Yeah, cannibalism's definitely frowned upon. I vaguely remember there being scriptures about kill them all. Something along those lines.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, like pagans. It's usually like not for sustenance. If I ever seen someone do that, no, capital punishment right there.
So that in the book, 1 Second After. Don't you remember they heard that was going on down in, I think it was Hickory or Morganton?
That's awesome.
And then that same group came up to Black Mountain and they killed the leader and they hung him on the bridge.
Yeah, I'm a fan of that.
Oh,
I'm a fan of that.
See, we learned something there.
Yeah.
Okay. Next question is mindset, situational awareness, confidence. What else? Situational awareness is always key. I mean, that you can practice right now. But I think that when the crap hits the fan, your senses go up and you will hear things, you will see things that you've probably never seen before because you're paranoid. You're not paranoid now.
What are you going to be smoking?
No, I mean, don't you think so? I know when we were doing an exercise in the military, we were eyes open, ready to go.
Yeah, when something happens, you're going to hear a twig snap, and you're going to, start shooting at it potentially, and it might just be a squirrel. So you have dinner, but
twig snap. Bow, 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 bow.
Yeah, but I mean, your senses are going to be higher because you're going to be fearing for your life. Your mortality is going to suddenly seem very relevant versus this facade of a society where everything comes easy.
Right. So that's but situation awareness is something you can practice now without a doubt.
No.
I mean, you should.
Yeah.
How to get out of the car, how to get in the car. When you get in the car, lock your door first thing. I mean, there are a ton of things that you need to be doing in situational awareness.
I can remember, and it sounded stupid then, but I can remember now my mom talking to me and saying, when we stayed at a hotel or something and be traveling, well, remember how many footsteps it is to that exit or to the elevator or something like that. And just even those things, because what happens if there's a fire? People start rushing out.
Mm-hmm.
Which way are you going? Know
Right.
those things.
And I can't wait to talk to Alan about some of this stuff next week too.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna definitely get some.
Case point right there. What was the one dude that when it was on there the first season? He was there the one day. It was a cop. He seen the bear scat.
Oh, the black bear, and he goes, "I'm out,
done."
done."
Yeah, he was out quick.
And no one's got attacked by a bear
No,
that we know of. There could have been other contestants.
there was another contestant still up
There
there.
could have been other people that we just didn't see. So that's a good point. I might ask: did everyone that that was released out there, did they all come back? Someone said in the chat room about a 50-pound bag of rice. Yes, you can buy it for $14 from Sam's. 50-pound bag of rice.
Yeah.
14
I plan on
bucks.
building up a little bit more rice and beans and
$14. You need 2 5-gallon buckets and some Mylar bags and some oxygen absorbers, and that could well past 25 years.
yeah.
But that 50 pounds will go into 2 buckets, about 25 pounds apiece. Wonder why I know that. I read about it.
Then haven't been stocking up for a while, have you?
Yeah. Let's see if there's any more questions here in the chat room. Hellfire and Brimstone, do I prep for a nuclear bomb attack? Wow.
I just point blank, if you don't have a bunker, the best thing for you to do is have some sort of nuclear, biological, and chemical gear. A gas mask. I know some people were saying last night, they were like, no, you don't really need a gas mask. But you actually do because of debris, particularly if you if you have to go outside.
For ash.
Yeah.
What's that called?
Fallout.
Fallout, yes.
Yes. Just from radioactive isotopes that have bonded to dust particles from the initial explosion as they coast through the air. Having some sort of protective gear. Now, that gear has gone up significantly. There's still some military stuff that you can find.
Right.
I think they have Tyvek.
But the radiation, it won't protect you from that. It would just protect you from the fallout.
Yeah, from the fallout.
Right.
The initial blast and everything.
And my video I'm doing in the morning is going to go through all that stuff as well. If you remember, did you not listen to my class last night?
Well, I thought you were going to be redoing more of the religious side of it.
Oh, I'm going to do both, actually.
When your soapbox,
My soapbox. It was I thought people responded very well to it.
But the other thing you need to do is, and it's fairly cheap, I think they still sell for $6 or $7 a packet, is the potassium iodide pills that are good for the 14 days that gets you basically through the initial fallout. Mm-hmm. It saturates your glands and then therefore doesn't allow the radioactive isotopes, radioactive iodine to get into your system. You'll help pass it. There's a few other things you can do though too.
Right. And so right, we went over that last night, but the potassium iodine, I had that in my preps, and I was telling people, I have that in my bags.
Yeah.
But yet, I never thought of nuclear attack. I was always thinking of McGuire, my power plants that are within 20 miles from me, something happened. Are you popping bones in your body?
I'm getting old, man.
That was your shoulder, wasn't it?
Yeah, that was my shoulder.
That's just, come on. You want to tackle that?
Coping mechanisms for the end of the world.
Yeah, that would be phase 10 card game.
Yeah. Honestly, it's probably going to sound funny. There was another question in there is how do you view religion? Or what's the importance of religion? And for me, it's one of those things where I hate to say it, but you ever just have a really bad stomach flu? Mm-hmm. You know what the first thing I do whenever I have the stomach flu is? I get down on the ground and I'm pretty much, dear Lord, whatever I've done, forgive me.
Yeah.
Make it quick. But, honestly, is whenever bad things have happened in my life, whether my wife's been in the hospital or my son's been in the hospital or surgeries, whatever's going on, financial, I turn to the Lord. Mm-hmm. That's my coping mechanism. Now, if you want to turn to other coping mechanisms, by all means, if you have something that's moral and good, I'm not going to sit here and recommend cocaine or sex and alcohol and things like that. If you want to do that, you may already be doing that, and it might be a problem down the road.
We're going to have a little issue at my camp if that happens.
Yeah, no sex.
Well, the good thing is
no babies, right?
It will run out.
Yeah.
And when it runs out, it's probably not going to be good for you.
Yeah. But I mean, that's the reality of it. So I would say for people who are looking for a coping mechanism, I turn to the text.
I do too. I agree. I mean, that's the best. I mean,
yeah, I have yet to die from the stomach flu, despite how bad it feels sometimes.
As much as I'm poisoning you, you would think that you would get sick more often.
Yeah.
So, Phase 10 rocks. Have you ever played Phase 10?
No.
I hate that game. I never win. It's just some games I just can't win.
We may have to try sometime just so I can make you feel more significant.
No. What percentage do you think will crack? Oh, we already talked about it. Yeah. Potassium iodine. So, recommend a book on prepper mindset. Oh, what's some good books on prepper mindset? Did that guy, what's his name? The blogger, did he? He wrote a book. And I asked you earlier before the show if it was about was it a prepping book, here's what you need to do?
I think it was about his experience.
It was about his experience.
Yeah.
Do you know the name of that book?
I don't off the top of my head. It's been a good while since I followed him, just because I think it's good initially for some preppers, but don't get too caught up in the idea that that's the way it's going to be, because America and Argentina, two very different beasts.
I think also just read... you're going to disagree with me, but reading some books, especially like The Days of Noah, reading Patriots, reading 1 Second After, all the mainstream prepping books, it gets you started of seeing people how they react. Because some of the people in that, they had to shoot a guy in the barn. And then you can see how everyone reacted when that happened. And then you can kind of go, well, I would be more like this person. And if you're like that person and you're like, oh, that's probably, you can kind of see what that person struggled with.
Yeah.
And maybe you can think through that. Okay, I don't need to be like that person.
Well, people are always, with any sort of entertainment, that's why it's entertaining, is because it's allowing you to live vicariously through another character. So whenever that character makes a mistake or does something, then you try and almost say, I kind of like that trait, or I don't like that trait. And that's how it's no different than how we, developed earlier before television and radio with role models and, authority figures and that.
Right, in the Going Home series, which we're going to have that author coming on there. Yeah, all these books, I think, help your mindset because you see situations and how people react, and then you can put yourself in that position and go, that was wrong, that was right, I would have been like this. And so I think reading books, there is some benefit. And watching movies.
Let me ask you something. Okay. Point blank, how many ISIS videos have you watched? How many of the videos of what they've done have you watched?
Maybe 15 or 20, and then I don't
see them as much as I used to, but honestly, that's one of the things that helps me develop my mindset.
Mm-hmm.
Because
I think it's tough. My friend Dave Wolf, well, he posts them all the time, and every now and then I'll just remind myself and watch one of them.
And it's one of those things where it's not just about desensitizing yourself.
Mm-hmm.
Every time I would see something like that, hear about the news, Christians being persecuted, children being slaughtered, stuff like that, it makes me think, not in my country. I don't care if it's Americans, if it's ISIS, if it's the government, if it's anybody.
Right.
Not in my country. It encourages me to get off my butt. If I'm sitting there playing a video game or reading a book or watching a television show and I see something come up on my phone and I watch that, instantly, guarantee you, I've dropped everything and I went and hit my weights. That's the kind of mindset people should have.
I hit the fridge.
You get the chocolate cake out and start forking it in. Yeah. That's awesome.
I mean, today you were walking. I mean, seriously, listening to what? I mean, I really affected your jam, didn't it?
You know, like the music that we start off the show with. Yes. I listen to stuff like that, and it puts me.
As you're walking, do you like?
Yeah,
march.
I march. Yeah, no, I don't march, but
that's hilarious. Oh goodness! So we have just a few more minutes left. Hey guys, we are doing another drawing. I've shipped one of the items off, two of the items. One person I can't get up with, so I'm going to give it a couple more weeks, and we may just put that back in the pot. So I don't know if they gave me a bogus address when they signed up for the Prepping Academy mailing list, but to get into our drawing, you have to go to preppingacademy.com and register for our drawing. And so what we're building a list of names, and when do you want to do that drawing? Like after Thanksgiving or something?
Yeah, probably after
And
Thanksgiving.
we'll give away the exact same items. My sponsor said absolutely. We'll be giving away a Sunjack solar panel, 20 watts. It's about a $200 item. A taskbar ammo can that has emergency food rations. Is that what you call it? What's it called?
Yeah.
Emergency food bars?
Yeah.
For 5 days, and has a survival kit in there. And then we gave a soil water filter as well. So go and register at preppingacademy.com for that, and your name will be in there, and we will just do a random draw like we did last time. Guys, we're live every Friday night at 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time every Friday night. But if you go to our YouTube channel, we actually didn't want to tell you this, but you can see our ugly faces because we live streamed this because it didn't work last night.
Yeah, no.
And so we live streamed this, so you can just see us talk, and I use my hands and get excited, and Kyle doesn't move at all, and you can see that.
Mm-hmm.
You move your head just a little bit every now and then. But you can check us out on our YouTube channel, Prepping Academy. And tomorrow I'm going to videotape that the class that we missed last night because it just screwed up.
Travis.
I know. Try. It wasn't all his fault. I don't think.
No. You know, it's funny. I almost said something to you whenever I seen it. 'Cause there was a little thing that popped up on the screen that said something like Apple, something not recording. I was like, I wonder if
No, but we'll get it right. I'm new to this streaming technology arena. So and next week, are you gonna come with a list of questions?
I probably will.
Alan K.
Should I dress up?
We should have your wife call in and ask him a question.
No, she wouldn't do that.
She
and
wouldn't
if
do
she
that?
did, you probably wouldn't be able to hear her.
Oh, why is that?
She's very quiet.
Oh, okay.
She just yells when she's around you because she knows you're old.
Oh, you're funny.
Uh-huh.
Not. So next week is Alan K, and he is going to call in. We're going to take some questions absolutely next week. And then the week after that is Franklin Horton, and he's going to be on. And then what are we going to do after that? I don't know. We haven't discussed that. That's 3 weeks in advance.
Yeah.
We don't go that far.
Yeah, no.
So I know we're going to have our 401k survival guy in like the first week in December.
Yeah, maybe we should do some election talk. How to survive the election.
Oh my gosh, we may need to do a special on that because last night, I mean, I guarantee you if I had that's on Tuesday. I guarantee you if we had one that Tuesday night, we could have 100 people. Because I scared people in coming the last time. Because some of the emails say, if you don't come, you're going to die. So guys, that's really the end of our show. Again, join us next week. We have Alan K. He is going to be absolutely awesome, and you can listen to how he won the show and some of his mindset. So that's going to be a continuation of mindset.
Yeah.
He's really on to the mindset. But again, go over to preppingacademy.com, register for our contest, and catch us next week again on prepperbroadcasting.com, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. You guys have a good week, and I'm out.
Keep prepping.
Keep prepping. Oh, that's a good statement. Is that what you're going to use from now?
I can.
Okay. See you guys. Thanks a lot. It's still going right now.
Let's hit the music.
Dun, 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 dun. I didn't even let this fall asleep. Right? That was kind of weird. So we were pretty close. I think I went over just a little bit. So
Huh. Lauren says she could hear my shoulder pop.
Really? That's hilarious. You, I heard it pop. Now my eyes bugged out. So I'm going to say bye to. We're going to stop the streaming. Preppingacademy.com.